Hello everyone, welcome back to the Going Zero Waste YouTube channel. I'm Kathryn Kellogg, and today we're going to go over a few ways that you can be more of an activist in your own town. After you've mastered eco-friendly living for yourself, or you feel like you've got a really good grasp on it in your own home, I think one of the next best things for you to do is to share that with your community. So I'm going to give you a few ways that you can plug into your community and you can be a little bit more of an activist. So the first thing is to host a workshop. Host a talk, and this is really easy. You can call a few of your public spaces like the local library, and they would be happy to have you come speak, or do a DIY, like show people how easy it is to make a cleaning product. My personal favorite is just an all-purpose cleaner that is vinegar and water. You can mix that up. It works great, and it's so wonderful to get the community involved in that because you can share that with other people and then they'll be using it. And once they make something, they truly feel ownership over it. They see how simple it is, and it's more likely that it will stick with them for a very long period of time. The second thing that you can do, of course, is to reach out to businesses in your own area. Of course, you can also reach out to multinational corporations as well, but it's really nice to call up your local cafe or a restaurant that you love to frequent, and maybe they automatically put plastic straws in the drinks. You can email them and ask them to opt for a straw on request policy only, and that will save them money, of course, because then they don't have to buy a whole bunch of straws because they're not automatically being placed in the drinks. But of course, if anyone needs a straw, they will still be there available upon request. Another thing you might want to do is talk to your cafe about implementing a rule that people get discounts when they bring in their own cups, and use incentive programs for people to sit in the cafe and enjoy a cup of coffee in a real mug rather than always getting a disposable. Those are just a few ideas, but I will link to a blog post below that does have a script for you to use if you want to contact a local restaurant about asking for a straw on request policy only. The third thing is to join or host a neighborhood cleanup. It took me about 1.5 years, but I was able to get my city to declare a day that is a Beautify the City day, where everyone goes out and a giant cleanup is held every single year. I wrote the proclamation, I read it with the mayor. It was so exciting. It took a very long time. And don't worry, you don't have to go that extreme. You don't have to get it proclaimed or anything like that, but just hosting a cleanup or joining one is a great way to show your town and talk about the litter problem that your town might be facing. So a few ways to host a cleanup. I've got a full blog post on that called How to Host a Cleanup, and it walks you through all of the steps of identifying a place, making sure that you have waivers, and of course, finding partners to partner with on getting things like supplies like pickers and gloves and bags and things like that. Hopefully you can find a sponsor or a local community partner for that. So I'll link that blog post down below. My fourth tip is to get political. So I am personally involved in my local government. I serve on the Beautification Commission of my city, and it has been eye-opening, to say the least, on how government moves, which is very slowly. And honestly, having served on the government for 3 years now, I feel like I have a lot of insight. So if you guys are interested more in like what capacity I serve the government and more about my time there, I would love to do a video about that. Please let me know if you're interested. But as a member of the commission, we would absolutely love for you to show up with passion and ideas and things that you want to get done. So the best way to go about that, in my opinion, of getting things to happen is to go through a commission rather than directly to the city council. These commissions typically have city council liaisons, which do meet with the city council, and therefore it's just a really streamlined way for you to get legislation passed, or it's a streamlined way for you to get an event or something like that funded. I've got a full guide called How to Get Involved with Local Government, which I will link down below. Number 5 is similar to get political, but it's just to go to a meeting. So many people don't attend their city council meetings, they don't attend commission meetings, they don't attend town hall meetings, and I know that it's not possible for you to go to every single meeting, but just go to some and just kind of get an idea of what's going on in your local government. All of the meetings are open to the public, and that's why it's a public forum. People can show up and talk and express ideas and listen. So check the calendars, see when our next meeting is, and go and try and get involved and work with people to create legislation or host a cleanup or anything like that to get that passed. And I think that once you finally go and once you experience a meeting or two, you'll understand how they work. And I think that you will be much more motivated and excited to go and participate. Number 6 is to start a petition. So if you want to see something happen, like you want bags banned or you want a straw on request only policy to be passed throughout your entire town or your city, start a petition and get people to sign it. Typically with petitions, you have to have them filed in a certain way. So you can go to your city clerk, you can ask them about the rules for filing petitions, and you can get community support. And of course, you could have always passed legislation without community support, but it certainly helps to have community support when you want legislation passed. And if for some reason it doesn't pass your city council, you can start a petition to get a referendum on the ballot, so that way the people will be deciding instead of the city council. So that's kind of a way around what the city council might have passed if you feel it is something that the general public would want. Number 7 is to volunteer. So find a local organization to volunteer with. One of my personal favorites is the CCL. You can get involved with the Citizens Climate Lobby, which is amazing. They advocate for a carbon tax, and they'll put you in touch with your representatives. They'll put you in touch with a like-minded group of people that you can advocate for this carbon tax with. And there's so many others. Like there's the Sierra Club. There's typically a lot of local Sierra Club organizations, and you can be put in touch with them, and they're doing things like cleanups all of the time. So it's just a really great way to also meet like-minded people in your area who can help you with things like petitions or going to city council meetings and working on getting legislation passed in your own town. Number 8 is to donate. So sometimes we might not have a lot of time, and if that's the case, monetary donations, of course, are always very, very helpful to organizations. I can list a whole bunch that I personally like and donate to, like Plastic Pollution Coalition, the Drawdown Organization, Earth Justice, Sierra Club. Of course, there are many organizations that would love to have a little bit more financial support. So if you can, set up a reoccurring monthly donation and try and maybe find even smaller, localer organizations that you can donate to. Localer? I don't think that's a word. Localer. More local. And then lastly, start a zero waste group in your neighborhood. I have a whole post on this about how you can find a group of like-minded people, because the more people you have joining together, the easier it's going to be for them to implement changes in their own home, but also it's going to be easier for you guys to create events like hosting cleanups and messaging businesses as a group and going to cafes and asking for them, because if you have more power in numbers, so if you can find that local group, there's so much that you can do. So those are my 9 tips. If you have any tips for becoming a local activist in your town, please let me know in the comment section down below. I hope you like this video. I hope you'll subscribe, and I will see you guys next week with a new video.